Okay, so now we're going to uncover ways and to shift your mindset around your hair. So, one thing I want to say, the first thing is to let go of old tales about your hair. One of the biggest thing I hear all the time when people come into the salon, especially people of a certain age, is that they want to know should they grease their scalp. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, really, that's my main question. Like, why do you want to grease your scalp? Because your grandmother greased your scalp, your mama greased your scalp. Now, not saying that I'm not going to say anything is wrong with grease and not going to say it's not. I do feel like grease have an age limit. When my daughter was a baby, I used to kind of grease her little scalp a little bit, but not too often. I didn't grease it every day. I only probably grease it more so to hold her hair together because I wasn't using gels. So I was using more um, mineral products, petroleum type products, because that's typically what grease is made of, is a petroleum product, right? So beyond her being probably like maybe one-ish, almost two, somewhere around that, we just kind of dropped the grease. And no, necessarily greasing your scalp is not always something you should be doing. Actually, greasing your scalp may not always be good for you. Okay. So, but you don't necessarily have to grease your scalp. Your hair is, if it's thrive, if it's gonna grow, it's gonna grow. It doesn't matter about if it's gonna be greased or not. Okay. So leaving another old tale is leaving your hair dirty so it can grow. Um, that just really just throw that out the window. Like your scalp, it has pores on it. That's how your hair come out of it. That's part of the way it's done. So if your scalp is compact with dirt, grease, and all these things over time, yes, it may appear as growing now because again, your hair is going to grow anyway, right? But what happens over time is that your pores can get begin to get clogged, and when those pores are clogged, then that's going to reduce the visibility of hair that's growing. And it could be because you're not cleansing your scalp. I see this all the time inside the salon. Okay. So another thing I want y'all to do is stop saying your hair won't grow. Unless you have some type of alopecia going on, your hair is actually growing. A lot of times, what happens is you may be just unfit to care for your hair alone. You may need assistance, right? And you may need a professional team to see better length retention because a lot of times that's the problem. Like if your hair is not growing, you would not visibly see hair on the scalp. The hair, if it's coming out of the scalp, your hair is growing. A lot of times it's just the retention. You don't know how to maintain the length once it comes out of the scalp. Okay. So let's make that shift. Like if your hair is on the scalp, it's growing. Now, how do we maintain what we see is the problem. My hair looked dry. Back to what I said about the appearance in the other slide. Your hair look dry does not mean your hair is dry, but your look may just be your hair's look naturally. And you have to, that leads me to saying you have to learn to accept the hair that you have. So when you learn to accept the hair that you have, you accept the fact that it naturally looks dull, right? Because it's more of a matte hair. It's not a gloss hair naturally. If you have glossy looking hair, it's because it's naturally that. No, and a lot of times y'all want to add grease because y'all think the grease is glossing your hair and you think it's doing things, is just creating a bad environment, really, in some instances, right? So you have to learn to accept the hair that you have. If your hair is naturally curly, it's just curly. If it's naturally straight, it's just straight. Now, can you do things to alter that? Yes, you can. If you don't like your hair look dry, most of the time people have hair that looks more if it's darker hair, the darker hair looks, it reflects light better than the lighter hair. So maybe you might consider changing your hair to being a darker brown or maybe a black, because typically black and brown hair typically reflects light more, right? Of course, there are other things that you need to do in your hair care regimen, but I just want y'all to think about that.